Hi there, Stampin' Piece friends. Welcome to my Stampin' Piece studio on Wednesday, November 5th. It is unusual for me to go live on a Wednesday, but thank you for accommodating me as I was watching some um, sneak peeks and recognition things that Stampin' Up put out yesterday afternoon. So that's what I was doing, but I'm back here today and I'm ready to share some fun things with you today. A quick reminder that my class, and I just forgot the name, Friendly Foliage class um, is open for registration right now this week through Saturday. And you can find information about that on stampinpiece.com. Just look for the blog post this week for the Friendly Foliage card class to go. And it features a wonderful new bundle, maybe my favorite bundle from the newest set of products. But I especially love the sentiments for sending cards of care and support and encouragement. And I think you'll like them too. So be sure to check that out at stampinpiece.com. And if you need help finding that information, all you have to do is contact me. But I think you'll find it right where it is quite easily. Last week, you saw me make some cards, some slimline cards using, again, the party alphabet dies, but this time I combined those with the Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper. And today I'm going to show you some creative ways to package those cards and give them as gifts this holiday season. And part of that is making color coordinated envelopes for your slimline cards. So that is what you're going to see today, in addition to the creative packaging. Here are some of the coordinating slimline envelopes I made for my handmade cards already. Okay. And what I used was the two-tone cardstock. You can make them from our regular cardstock. I find it to be just a little too thick, and I've often made my envelopes from Designer Series paper as well, but I feel like the best option for coordinating envelopes is to use our two-tone cardstock. I like the weight of it. It's between the DSP and the regular cardstock. So not too heavy, but not too thin. And it's plain, and you can use the darker side or the lighter side, whichever you like. So what I'm going to show you first, before we do the creative packaging to give all these cards as a gift, is how to make the color coordinated envelopes for your slimline cards. You may remember that my finished slimline card measures 8.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And the videos for these cards are right here in Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe on YouTube, or you can also find them on my blog, stampinpiece.com, which includes the video, cutting dimensions, etc. But 8.5 by 3.5 inch cards is what I'm going to be making my envelope for. So to coordinate with this card, I've chosen a piece of the Pecan Pie two-tone cardstock. Right here you can see the different shades of the two-tone cardstock. I want the lighter shade to be the outside of my envelope, okay? Mainly because to address the envelope, it'll be easier to read the writing, but it's whatever your preference. If you are using a dark color, and you feel it's too dark to write on, I don't think this really is with a black pen or a black marker, but if you feel it is, you can just attach like a small white piece of paper, could be typing paper, cardstock, or you can use some kind of white mailing label also and stick it to that but I'm using the light side of the pecan pie two-tone cardstock, and I am going to open up the arm of my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. And I will tell you, I've got this template, and I will post this on my blog afterwards. Super easy if you just follow the cutting and scoring dimensions and then flip it over to and follow the adhesive instructions, okay? I'm going to ask Andrea to make this up in her very professional way so you have a nice template to hold on to forever. But until I can have her do that, this will work just fine. And like I said, I will post that on my blog afterwards at stampinpiece.com. So the first thing, and I'm going to follow my instructions exactly, okay? I'm going to follow my instructions exactly. So the first thing I'm going to do to make my envelope for that 8.5 by 3.5 slimline card is to cut my cardstock down to 11 inches by 8.5. 11 inches by 8.5. So I'm starting with 12 by 12, cutting it down 8.5 or 11 inches by 8.5. I'm going to turn it back to the horizontal position or landscape position so that my 11-inch side is at the top. And then I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch. Don't press too hard when you're scoring. You don't want your scoring blade to go through your paper. And then I'm going to slide it all the way over to 9 3/4 and score it 9 3/4. So again, I scored it 3/4 of an inch and 9 3/4. Then I'm going to turn this to the vertical position. And when you do this, you want what was your 9 3/4 inch score line to be at the top and your 3/4 inch score line at the bottom. Okay. So in the vertical position with the 9 3/4 inch score line at the top and the 3/4 inch at the bottom, I'm now going to score at 2 inches and then 6 inches. Do you notice that when I'm scoring, I don't press real hard and do it once. I am gliding it lightly back and forth twice, okay? And that's going to give you the good score lines that you need. Now, before I fold on these score lines, I'm going to cut away the 4 corners. And when I cut away those 4 corners, I'm going to cut at an angle just outside of the corners. Do you see how I have that marked here? Cutting at an angle just outside of the 4 corners. So it doesn't matter where you start, which corner you start at, but I'm outside of that corner about maybe 1/4 of an inch, definitely no more than 1/4 of an inch, and cutting to the point that intersects the intersecting point of the score lines. And I'll do that all the way around. The reason I'm saying cut on an angle outside of the score lines is you get a much better fold. You get a much, much better fold when you cut at an angle outside the score lines rather than cutting directly on the score lines. It eliminates some of that bulk when you're folding. So those are my pieces that I cut away. And this is what I have now, okay? Before I go on to do anything else, I'm going to flip this over And I'm going to score on all 4 score lines. And you see at times I turning my paper as I'm working on it, but I like to go back to the original position. Short 3/4 inch score line on one side, on the left, and 9 3/4 on my right. This is my front side, the lighter shade. I'm flipping it over, and I'm going to fold the bigger side in. Okay, this is wider, or deeper, I should say, than this one. So I'm going to fold in the larger flap first, then using my multi-purpose glue. And I do think multi-purpose glue really is the best when you're making and sealing envelopes. And I'm just going to do a narrow line of glue across the top, and then a teeny tiny bit in those corners. And then just go over it. Make sure you give that a nice seal. Okay, very, very small, narrow line of glue, because you don't want that glue seeping out to the inside, because it'll make your cardstock or your envelope stick together. Or even if it doesn't stick together, it'll still be tacky, and you don't want that. Then I'm going to turn this so my small flap is at the bottom. And again, I'm just putting a very narrow line of glue at the bottom. And I'll press that down and hold it in place for a few seconds to dry. As I'm working with this pecan pie two-toned cardstock, I don't think you can see it here, but sometimes when I look at the dark side, it has sort of a goldish hue to it, like a metallic gold hue to it. And I noticed that same thing with the Cherry Cobbler two-tone cardstock, which is not a flaw. It's just the way it is. They are, each side is printed with ink. But I just think it kind of adds a little something extra when you notice that. Makes me happy, I guess. And the last thing I'm going to do for my envelope is take a piece of tear and tape and go right across the top edge of that last flap. The reason I use tear and tape here is, number one, unless I'm going to use the envelope immediately to mail a card, I don't want to not have adhesive on it. I want my card or my envelope to be ready to go right when I'm ready to send my card. So therefore, all I have to do is peel this adhesive backing off, stick my card in, and send it on its way. The other thing, if you're giving these as a gift, you don't have to leave your gift recipient wondering or looking for adhesive to close the card. You want it ready to use, right? Okay, so here is that finished envelope. And then I've got my other 4 here, or other 3 here, for a total of 4 cards. Now this makes a wonderful gift, and I'm going to show you a fun, creative, pretty way to package these for gift giving. Everybody's thinking about the holidays coming up. What is it? 7 weeks or so away from Christmas, and people are thinking about their gift giving. And if you do handmade cards as gifts, you are going to love how easy and fun and beautiful the packaging is. Before I do that though, remember last week when I was making the cards, I said, Stampin' Up! Package came and I didn't have time to open it, but I was hoping these were in there. It wasn't that package. It was a different one. These came yesterday, and these are the pressed flower motifs. Pressed flower motifs. Can you see the detail in these? they're just like, well, flowers pressed into the metal pieces, and they're so pretty. But these are the embellishments I was wanting to add to some of these slimline cards. So I'm just going to do that now before I finish off my demonstration with the gift package. I've got the bow there, so I don't think I'm going to add any of these embellishments. And let's see, on this one, I'm going to do something a wee bit different. I'm just using 3 of the small embellishments and just making a line or putting them in a row to draw a little more attention to that small sentiment. And then on my last card, I'll do a combination of large and small embellishments, just like that. So I think these embellishments really add a lot to these cards, especially with the Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper. So now let's make some packaging for this. So for this, I once again am starting with a piece of 12-inch by 12-inch Designer Series paper. And this is from, oh, let me remember. It is from the Country Woods Designer Series paperback, Country Woods. Okay, are you all with me? Tell me if you're here, because a message just popped up on my screen that the live recording stopped. Oh no. And that has never happened before. Let me know if you're still with me and still watching. That has never ever happened. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going and hope people jump back on. And if not, I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with this video. But bear with me. So now I have 10-inch by 12-inch. Oh, I'm back. Good, 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 good. That was so strange. Again, another thing that's never happened with my YouTube Live. Oh, crazy. A message popped up on my computer screen and said, the recording is no longer in session. And I panicked, and then it popped back up. I don't know what that was about. Okay, going back, I started with 12 by 12 Country Wood Designer Series paper, and I cut it down to 10 inches across by 12 inch. 10 by 12. Oh, it's saying no sound. Somebody let me know if you're hearing. Okay, Linda's got sound. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. All right. You're going to turn this to the vertical or to the horizontal position. Turn it to the horizontal position so your 10 or your 12-inch edge is at the top. Okay, 12-inch at the top. So I'm just falling apart here. Then I'm going to score at 10 or at 2 inches. Score at 2 inches. Okay. So again, 10 inches by 12 inches. Turned it to the horizontal position, and I scored at 2 inches. So I can put my trimmer away. I'm going to fold on that score line, and this is what I'm looking for. my bone folder. Okay. The other thing, and I should have done this before I put my, I'm all discombobulated now after that video was freezing. That live was freezing on me. Okay, scored at 2 inches, and then the opposite direction, I'm scoring at 5. Okay, score at 2 inches in the horizontal position, score at 5 inches on the 10-inch side, the short side. And so I already scored the bottom, went over the bottom score line with my bone folder, and I did it on the 5-inch score line. So basically what I'm making here is a folder, and I just want to cut out a little V here in the center before I make my pockets. And the reason I'm doing that is the same reason I made some cuts and removed those corners with angled cuts outside of the score line to make everything fold better. So this is what it looks like now. So I'm going to flip those flaps up, and I'm going to seal the outside edge to form pockets. Again, you're just using the narrowest bit of glue. And I'm going to do it on the other side. The inside edges, those angled edges in the tops of the flaps, we're leaving open to form our pocket. Okay, just make sure they're held in place well. I do think the liquid glue, the multi-purpose glue, is the best thing to use when you're making this. So really, this is the basis of my creative packaging, but we're going to finish off and make it kind of fancy. But I'm going to put 2 cards in the left pocket. I always like to make sure those edges are sealed well. Sometimes I even let it sit for a bit. And 2 cards and envelopes in the right pocket. Close it up. And now there are different ways that you can close this. You can simply wind a ribbon around it and tie it with a bow, and it makes a pretty package. I'm actually going to be making a belly band, and I'm using part of that two-tone cardstock that I cut off when I made my envelope for the Hugs card with the petal pink two-tone cardstock. And then I've also got this 2-inch strip of the Country Woods DSP that I cut off. So I'm going to go ahead and utilize this, right? Why not use this scrap instead of storing it? So I can do a couple of things here. I'm going to play with both sides and see what I like better on the two-tone. Okay, I like the darker side on this. I'm not liking this so much against that. So I'm going to go with the same color wood grain, but I want to cut this 2-inch strip down to a 1.5-inch strip. And that works better with my 1-inch petal pink strip, I think. Now I'm going to give you a couple of tips when you're layering pieces like this. I can go ahead and adhere the entire petal pink strip to my DSP. But when I do that and bend it, it can move. So I'm only going to adhere part of this strip. And as I go further into the process of making this belly band and putting it around my card, I should have had my silicone craft sheet here because I'm making a mess on my glass mat. Okay, so I've only adhered part of it. And again, there's a specific reason why I do it this way. Now, this is going to go all the way around and create a belly band. You can either seal it up in front, which works, or if you want to put the seam in the back, what I would do is something like this, wrap it around, tuck this piece underneath, and put the edge of my belly band right at the edge of my folder. Because I'm decorating the front of the belly band, I'll have this banner piece. I know that my seam will get covered if I place it right in the center. So that's what I'm going to do this time. But this is what I want you to see. When I wrap this around, and this is the end where the two pieces are not adhered together yet, look what happens when I wrap around. The ends no longer meet. So that's the reason I don't adhere the entire top layer to the bottom layer, because as you're moving it, it does, and wrapping it, it does, they don't lay the same, okay, simply because we're going around this thickness. So I'm just going to pull this over, and then I'm going to pull this over, and you want it snug, but not too tight that it can't slide up and down easily. Okay, so, and remember, you're only adhering belly band to belly band. You don't want anything touching the folder. Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky, but now I'm ready to adhere the other end of my two-tone cardstock to that piece of DSP. Okay. This is, again, this is why I wait to adhere that top layer completely to the bottom layer. I'm going to scoot this over just a bit because I want to make sure that seam is going to be covered. It was getting a little close to my left edge. And again, I don't want to go to all this trouble and then have an ugly seam right there. So I think that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is put glue on this edge and glue on this edge. So I know my adhesive is only where I want it, no place else. And I'm just going to press it down and hold for a few minutes. If you feel like it's easier to, at this point, remove your belly band and then hold it in place, you can do that. I think it's just as easy to leave it on your packaging. Okay, before I do any die cutting with that, I am going to wrap this with some linen thread and tie a bow. And I'm doubling it. You can use ribbon, baker's twine, you can use whatever you want, but because this is so thin and fine, I decided I want to double mine. Plus linen thread is quite inexpensive and goes a long way, so I often just like the look of doubling up my linen thread. And this gift is rather large, sizable. So I think it also, the size also lends itself to a double layer of the linen thread and a double bow. And I'm going to tie a knot here. I don't always do a knot before I make my bow, but on this one I do want that. And then I just make a nice bow. Pull your loops or your ends until you get the bow the size you want it. And then I'm going to trim off the ends, but I do like to leave them kind of long for this project. Now, of course, you can still see that seam, and I want to put something right here. I think that I am going to use, let me find it. What did I do with it? Another piece of the Petal Pink two-tone cardstock. And I do like the lighter or the darker shade for this banner piece. And because that die is rather narrow, like many of our dies, I can die cut it. Oh, Donna, I hope your sound is back on. I'm going to die cut this using my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Here's a tip when you're die cutting. This has a perfectly straight edge. When you put an edge perfectly straight, parallel to the rollers in the machine, it can often jump when you're rolling it through. You'll hear kind of a thud, and you don't always get the nicest cut. So there's two things I can do with this particular die. I can angle it just a little bit so it's going through the roller, that straight edge is going through the roller a little bit of it at a time, not perfectly parallel to the rollers. Or because there's no straight edge on this side, I can put it through that way. But remember that whenever you've got a die that has straight edges, turning it at just a tiny bit of an angle, it doesn't even have to be a lot, tiny bit of an angle will help that go through your machine, big or small, more easily, and you're going to get a better cut. And these are the, I believe they're called the party banners, and they come in lots and lots of sizes. This is what I used to make Riley's birthday banners back in June. So lots of different sizes, large to very small. So great for banner making, for scrapbook pages, memory keeping, 3D items, and of course cards. So this is where it's going to go. Okay, I'm going to scoot my bow over just a bit. Put this here. But here's where you can do some personalizing. And I'll show you my sample. But personalizing, handmade gifts are fabulous, aren't they? Absolutely fabulous. I love when I get a handmade card and a handmade gift. It like makes my heart sing. I just know like it's a work of heart. I know somebody put such great time and effort and love into what they're making for me. But if you can add one other step of making it personalized, how wonderful would that be? And you can put any kind of message here. If it's for a birthday, maybe happy birthday. But I want to personalize for mine for somebody specific. And for that, my daughter Emily is at work taking care of other people as a physical therapist, so she never watches my lives. Andrea might catch one here and there, but I'm going to make this for Emily, okay? And I'm going to use, gosh, I'm going to pull another piece of this Country Woods paper. I kind of like this with that. What do you think? And that kind of looks like an Emily thing. Let me see what else is in here before I make my final decision. This is the Country Woods Designer Series paper. It's just all different wood grain textures and colors and patterns. Ooh, that blue could be pretty too. You know what? I'm going to go with my first choice. However, it's not really fitting so good right there. Well, actually, I think maybe I can make it fit if I'm real careful putting this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It'll be just the right height. Think I can do it? Do you have confidence in me? Okay, here's another example of it's got all these straight edges. This die has all those straight edges. So before I run it through my machine, I'm turning it at an angle, just a little bit. It's not an extreme angle. But this way, it'll go through much more smoothly. Okay, I'm not sure if you guys stopped commenting or if it just stopped showing them. If you're ever, your die's getting a little stuck to your cutting plate like mine did there, just use your piercing tip of your take your pick tool to give it a little nudge. And then I'm going to, add these, or this letter. But if I use this outside edge because it's skinny. Just like that. And a couple of these I'm going to just cut in half. There, I think that will be good. And I'll put that E on there. All right, what do you think? There is my completed packaging. I'm not seeing your comments come through anymore. Goodness. Okay, let me show you my sample. Okay, and this will be for my sister Joan. She does not do paper crafts with me. She's good at cooking. She is good at decorating, home decorating, and she's good at floral arranging. So those are her ways of being creative. Her way is not my way is not her way, whatever. But it's nice that we both have different interests and skills and talents, and we can share those with each other. But she does always appreciate when I give her some handmade cards or handmade gift to you. So this is going to go to her. And what I want to show you about this is I did not make color coordinating envelopes for these cards. I will probably go ahead and do that, but I wanted to show you that you can use your standard letter envelopes and they fit the same way. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of room on the left and right sides of your pockets, plenty of room on those cards, and plenty of room at the top. I did that intentionally because there are two sizes of envelopes. If you don't want to make your own envelopes, which I think it's so fun to make color coordinating envelopes. I love doing it. But if you don't want to, I'm going to suggest two sizes of envelopes for you. And these are known as letter envelopes and business envelopes. Letter envelopes are typically a number 9 size, number 9. And then they are, I should tell you, I think they're 4 by 9. Yeah, 4 by 9. Or you can use or you can use a number 10 envelope. which is 9 1/4 or 4 1/4 by about 9 1/4, maybe 9 3/8, something like that. So even if you use the number 10 size envelopes, they will still fit in this folder I just taught you how to make. Okay. And I've got links to those number 9 and number 10 envelopes. I get mine on Amazon, and they're very affordable if you want to go that route instead of making your own color coordinating envelopes with two-tone cardstock or DSP. So let me slip this belly band back on here, but I will include those links. I know last week some people asked about that. What envelopes do you use for 8.5 by 3.5 inch slimline cards? They're very easy to find. You can find them at any big box store, office supply store, and like I said, I use Amazon online, so that's the link I will share with you, and it will be included on the post on stampinpiece.com for this. Are there any questions? I'm questioning if you guys are still with me because comments are no longer coming through. Oh, there's one. Thank you, Vesta. Now I'm seeing. Okay, great. Yes, and this was the DSP that we used for the cards last week. Is the beautiful gallery, and it's a 6 by 6 pack. So none of those papers would work for this size card envelope, but that's the beauty of Stampin' Up. We have so many wonderful products, wonderful papers, and it's fun to mix and match, and that's exactly what I did. I have the same set of cards in both of these packages. The one I showed you how to make, or made in my demonstration, showing you the card folder and the belly band, was from the Country Woods DSP. This is from the Peaceful Garden DSP. So no matter what, I'm sure that you have papers and products that will be great for making some beautiful envelopes and beautiful packaging to give your slimline cards as gifts this holiday season for birthdays, co-workers, teacher appreciation. I'm sure even your doctor and dentist would enjoy a nice handmade gift from you. Any questions? Oh, Linda, thanks. I'm loving my short hair too. Thank you. Any questions? Okay, quick reminder, we have lots of new products out, including a couple of new kits and some online exclusives. So be sure to check those out at stampinpiece.com/shop SU. SU for Stampin' Up, shop SU. Also, a reminder that registration for my Friendly Foliage Class to Go is open through Saturday, November 8th. And you can find information on that on stampinpiece.com. Would you like to see those cards? I'll show you a peek. So here's one. So these cards are all for caring, kindness, support, encouragement, that sort of thing. And I've made them with kind of a masculine look to them because oftentimes many times people ask me, tell me they need help making masculine cards. So you can always switch out sentiments if you want, but I think you'll find that the Friendly Foliage bundle has great sentiments that you will use over and over and over throughout the year. So check that out at stampinpiece.com. Glenda, I'm glad you like this idea. And yes, I'm happy to give you the dimensions. And I will post, this video will post to YouTube Live, But then give me some time till later today, perhaps tomorrow morning, to get this posted to my blog, stampinpiece.com. I'll have all the products I used as well as all of the dimensions as well. And I will include a picture of the template and instructions I made for making your coordinating envelopes for the 8.5 by 3.5 slimline cards. Thanks everybody for joining me. Tomorrow I'm watching Riley, and that is my that's Thursday. So I usually do a YouTube live at 2 p.m. I'm doing a pre-scheduled premiere video at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It will come live at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, November 6th. So it'll be just like I'm live. You can comment and I can read your comments later, and we can share that way. But you don't want to miss it because it is the first Thursday of November, which means I have an awesome One Sheet Wonder demonstration for you. And you'll use, or I'll use, a 12 by 12 inch sheet of the Weekend Adventures DSP. So it's kind of masculine, doesn't have to be masculine, but they are rather masculine looking cards. But of course you can use any paper you want with my One Sheet Wonders. But I'm going to use a sheet of that to make 12 cards, and that includes 6 card sketches. So it's going to be wonderful like all the others are. So I hope you will tune in for that. And please share this channel, Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you get all of the notices for my videos and lives. Bye-bye.